Hello, everybody, and welcome to Money Ox Trading. Today, a special afternoon live stream in collaboration with EG Indicators. We have Phil Traxler from EG Indicators joining us today, and he's going to pretty much be the host today. And I'm just going to be sitting back answering some questions and letting him run the show. So, first of all, welcome, Philip. How are you today?
Thank you, thank you. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you doing today? I know price action today might have ripped people apart a little bit.
Yeah, price action hasn't been great, but I did manage to get back to green after being in the red most of the morning. So as of right now, I'm green.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, awesome. Yeah. Thank you for hosting and really bringing everyone together. So, it has been
Uh,
a wild few months. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so while yes, I do work for EG indicators. The prop space is always an emotional roller coaster. And while I have such an influential voice in the prop firm industry, would love to get your thoughts on just where the prop firm industry currently sits. I know that we had a few firms close, we had a few that just opened, and we have a few legacy ones that have been around 5, 10 years.
The prop firm industry has changed an amazing amount over the last 12 months. Firms coming, firms going. We saw an explosion of new firms to begin 2024. We've already seen three of those go away. As of where it stands now, I think it's maturing somewhat. I'll be honest. I missed. I got into prop firms in 2021 or late 2021, and there was no drama, no drama at all. Firms didn't acknowledge each other existed really. Everyone kind of just did their own thing. There's no drama, and I really missed that because now it seems like there's more focus on what's going on with the business side of the prop firms versus the actual trading. And I think too many traders are getting sidetracked with it. We have this stuff going on between Apex and day traders. Of course, we've had the months worth of drama with that other firm. Uh, that one firm that opened and closed within like a month. It's just I really miss the drama-free space that we once had, but this is probably growing pains is where we're at with it. If think of it maybe as adolescence of the for the industry before it continues to mature. And over the next year, I think we are going to see more firms close, newer firms that just couldn't hack it, and then we're going to see the top dogs become stronger. I also think that the we're already seeing the cost barrier to entry rising a little bit. You're seeing less sales, less big sales. You're seeing some firms, raising prices. I think that, the time of there almost always being a 90% sale or an 80% sale available is instead of it being all the time, it's going to be just here and there. And that might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. I think there's a place for deep sales for people that are getting started. It's a good, cheap way for them to practice, but still have some pressure of something that matters. But overall, I think we're going to see, you know, less discounts, more expense going forward. And, if that keeps people from maybe gambling as much or just YOLOing and stuff, maybe that's a good thing too.
Sure, and that would help a lot, especially now that we have the sim to funded product that has
Hmm.
taken over. So many firms are now offering it and at a premium too. So like what the prices you saw in Forex, $800-900 for a single evaluation is what now you're seeing in the sim to funded route.
Yeah, but I will say, at least to me, it seems like sim the funded's already starting to simmer down. Looking at the stats I see as an affiliate, um, the one company that offers both, for a long time, it was like probably 80% sim to funded and 20% regular evals. And now I really believe it's flip flop to where I see 80% evals and 20% sim to funded. And I mean, at one point, it seemed like there was like 8 firms that offering the sim to funded, and now, I mean, there's more out there still offering it, but there's only 3 I personally can recommend right now. So it doesn't seem like the focus anymore is on sim to funded, as you know uh, that one fizzled out, I think, and then you saw changes starting to come to the others because you saw quick rule changes with some of the other companies that are running sim to funded. I just think, it, like I said, it's starting to fizzle out, and I think a lot of people thought, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. I'm always failing the evals. The evals are the problem." And then they figured out once they started blowing the sim to funded. I mean, straight to funded. Sorry, straight to funded accounts, that the evals weren't the problem.
Yeah, and again, when you blow the sim to funded, that's not like an eval that costs 16, $20. Like you're just now blowing 5, 600, $700 a pop. So that, and I think that that's forced a lot of traders to, like you said, stop gambling, really take inventory of their strategies, and then really just stop the gambling. Like, I mean, I know we all want to trade 10 minis on NQ every now and then, and if it looks awesome, but you get one wick against you and the entire account's gone.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if if someone's going to do straight to funded, then they should have, in my opinion, at least 6 months of consistently profitable trading before they do that.
One,
Then they all right, skip the eval and go straight to funded. But the other thing about going straight to funded, we'll use Tradeify. I wasn't going to throw out names, but we'll use Tradeify as an example. Straight to funded, you get in there for whatever price, and you have a 20% consistency rule,
hmm
or you can do their end of day eval, which can be passed in one day, and then you have a 35% consistency rule. So you have an easier consistency rule. Are you telling me that one day on an eval is really worth all the extra money and the harder consistency rule? It just doesn't make sense to me, overall.
100%. And I want to make a clarification. I did mean straight to funded, not sim to funded.
Yeah,
Sim to funded
it's
is the company that is hosting Top Step X. But
yeah.
yeah,
I do
but
I do I do that too, so don't
oh
worry
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
But these straight to funded accounts look so attractive on the surface. But when you start to look back, like you said, exactly, what is a couple extra days? What is a couple extra days to have maybe 15, 20% more consistency? And yes, you may have an intraday drawdown until you reach a certain amount, or a drawdown until you reach the initial balance. Then it's as much as you can make. Seeing this product really take off, it's almost come back full circle. It was super, super popular, and I feel that more than most people have burned themselves out of them. They burned their wallet where, yeah, you could go and buy 10 Apex accounts in a day. The evals, copy trade them. You burned them. Oh no, you're out maybe $200. You do that with the straight to funded, like your rent money's gone.
Yeah.
And so, but that's great. So now, where do you see prop firms going? Because we've had some pretty big splashes recently with the futures desk is is one of them. they came in and really brought back the small number of accounts. A
Mhm.
lot of and then you have Tradeify, Fund of Futures Family. All those have come in and seen what has happened with like the 20 accounts or having unlimited withdrawals. So now they came in and have reduced it to either two or five, or they're building up as you go. But that's just one instance of like where I'm seeing the prop industry go. I would love to get your take on where things go.
I think we're going to see things, running more sustainably now. You're going to see more changes as more data becomes available to these props. We've seen, a couple of the newer props making changes as they go, and they're doing it for the most part the right way where, they announce the change will happen in this date. They're not doing it like retroactively or anything or like surprising people. But I think it's smart. I know nobody likes change, but if it means that the prop's going to be able to continue to run sustainably and people are going to get paid, then, it's a necessary, I don't even want to say evil, but it's just something that's necessary. Um, I think the thing is, we had this whole for the last 6, 7 months. We've kept hearing about possible CME regulations, and everybody was waiting to see what that was going to do, and yet it's never happened so far. Like all the talk about it's died down, so I don't know if that's ever happening. There was talk about dire things where after they put down their foot, only two or three firms might survive, or they were going to no longer allow any type of sim funded trading and all that. I don't think anything dire is going to happen, even if CME regs do come in, just because a lot of people mistake and think CME is a government agency when it's a for profit company. So they're just
Right.
worried about profit. So they just want to make sure that they're not going to look bad and they're going to get some money from it. They're not going to want to kill the momentum that these prop firms have helped futures gain and has gained. They're constantly doing more volume month over month over month. So it's not going to be that death sentence that a lot of people thought. But I think that was over the heads of everybody for most of the end of last year. I think in 12 months, if you look ahead 12 months, I think you're going to see less firms, but though it's just going to be the firms that recently started that go away. I mean, I think older firms are still. I mean, heck, look at One Up. Nobody hears about One Up. They ran their first sale in like 3 years. Last month. They're a dinosaur in the industry, and yet they somehow keep going on. So it seems like the older firms know how to survive no matter what the climate is. And I think the newer firms are all watching one another, learning from one another, even if they won't acknowledge the fact that, won't acknowledge anything positive about one another. I think they're learning from each other, and I think that's helping the industry as a whole. Um, the one thing that came out over the last year was the whole, the for lack of a better term, schemers and scammers that have still are affecting the industry. I talked with an executive a few weeks ago who's still dealing with a lot of people trying to do illegal chargebacks and things like that. And I think the one thing that would really help the industry is if the industry, even if they hate each other, even if the CEOs hate each other, and we've seen CEOs fighting on Twitter and all that, but if they
Hmm.
could come up with just to agree to share their problem people that do that kind of thing with a central database of users, it would help the whole industry weed these people out so they would be no longer have a barrier to entry and continue to try and take advantage of firms, which really did hurt a bunch of firms last year, and they're still trying.
So it's the same bad actors that are just running through firms, and that was quite a bit there. So on one hand, right, you have the older firms like Apex, Top Step, even Earn to Trade is so overlooked and they're so small. While they might run deep discounts, they do offer um, a really cool plan, like a trader's path to
Hmm.
a large account. Which, if y'all haven't checked them out, you literally start with a 50K eval and you trade your way up to a $400,000 account funded, which is it's super cool. But again, it's firms like that, like OneUp, totally off the radar. And one that you haven't seen on the radar much is Lilu. I I remember when like they were big.
Lilu has, yeah, Lilu is on my blacklist. Lilu finds any way they can not to pay their traders, so
Oh, it's
they're a
sad.
blacklisted firm. Yeah,
Mm. You know what? But that's what happens when you don't pay your traders. You get blacklisted. So you know what? If you find out new information that they are paying their traders, please let us know,
yeah.
and maybe we can take them and not have them on the blacklist, but not give them the green light either.
Hmm.
So, well, awesome. So glad that we really got into the prop firm space. I feel like over the past few months it's been one incident after another, and it's just a constant wave. It's like watching TMZ, right? It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's something new every day. You open up Discord, and it's like, this firm is going under, this firm's going under, this firm looks like it's about to go under. But I think what's happening now happened in the forex space last year, and where they had quite a few firms fail, and not being able to service U.S. traders was a huge hit. But the strong found a way to survive, and then it consistently grew after that. So I'm hoping that is what is happening here. Is that what we're getting a bit of die off, but the strong are going to stay, and the industry as a whole is going to continue to grow.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, like I said, the growing pains. Like this is adolescence, and hopefully it means we're heading toward a mature industry, and that becomes stronger. That's what I'm hoping that we'll see.
Absolutely. So you mentioned early on that you started in the red today. So I know that today we had Trump speak. We had EIA for you oil traders. Hopefully you're able to capitalize on that or stayed away from the market. But you mentioned you were red today off off the bat, but then turn green. So what kind of happened there?
Well, it was actually a roller coaster. My first two trades were green, and then I went red, and I was back to green by $7. Then I went back to red, and then it was the Trump speech volatility where I grabbed a great trade that got me back into the green, and I kind of stopped there and started working on getting this stream set up. So figure that was a good place to stop. Green for the day. Yesterday I was badly red. It just I the chop of the last couple of days. It just sometimes I just well when I autopsied yesterday. So that's what I call it.
Hmm.
When I have a bad day, I call it an autopsy when I go back through it. And it was just I should have been taking smaller profit. I was kept hoping for something to like run, and I was holding too long, and then it would come back and hit me break even or even go to my stop. I should have just been taking smaller chunks and open up. Today I wasn't really doing that. It's just today it just seemed like the chop was just getting me, and I took a couple bad entries, but it just I really like more days that aren't just moving up and down by 10 points like we had been seeing until the last couple hours.
Right, right, yeah. Like I mean, the first hour of of market open was just one massive chopping block, and that that
Uh-oh. He apparently has a free Zoom. He's gonna have to reconnect. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, he does not have free Zoom. Hold on. Let's get reconnect. We'll get reconnected.
hey, I'm glad that we're all back now.
Oh,
I'm not quite sure what happened,
yeah, I'm not sure
but
either.
yeah, I was going on an explanation, and all of a sudden it says host had ended meeting. I'm like, wait. I get kicked out that quickly?
All
Like,
right, well, you're technically the host. You made the link, so you kicked yourself out.
hey,
Ah.
look, I'm Stace the ghost of price actions past coming back to haunt me. But yeah, like this morning was terrible. I remember I was in a live stream, so we host a live stream every morning in Indicators Discord, and we do the morning session. You know, price action is usually fantastic. In the afternoon, sometimes you get a lot of chop, and you can and I know that if I take a lot of profit in the morning session and I try to then trade the afternoon session, I have a pretty good chance of giving back my profit.
Yeah,
But this morning session was cruel. If you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and share that. If
yeah, go ahead, absolutely.
awesome, go ahead and pop this up. All right. So this is what I was seeing this morning, right?
Hmm.
This massive chopping block. So before I go any further, let me go ahead and explain what's on my chart. Everyone has a strategy. Everybody has a setup, right? And this chop this morning could have hurt. Actually, I'm sure it did hurt a lot of people. Why I chose to enter a lot later was because I was waiting for these lines to be respected. These are the trigger point indicator with EG indicators. Now, the blue lines are previous day's levels. The green and red are current day levels. Okay, so we all know support, like previous support turns current resistance, previous resistance turns current support. It happens, and this morning was no different. I'm gonna go ahead and remove anything else from my chart. I keep it very simple, very clean. I have a divergence indicator and a fair value gap indicator as well. Both are by EG indicators, and they both work wonderfully. So by looking at my chart again, you can it's clear to see I am an ICT trader. I trade ICT concepts, but when I was first using these trigger points, I was skeptical. I was not used to having lines on my chart, right? Everyone's used to the fair value gaps. Everyone is used to maybe one or two lines, and then you have your moving averages and whatnot. But even though, and this is just one day's. levels. So the previous day's levels, I was waiting for something to be respected because we saw basically from Globex Open just a drop. It dropped off the map and then just chopped for like 4.5 hours, 5 hours until open. So while it was chopping, I said, you know what? Let's not even get into a trade. So we were sitting there just scrolling through tickers and waited for price to then respect the levels. Okay, so we saw the price came down to the tick, and it is truly to the tick on these levels here. So if you're looking at the Nasdaq, look at that to the tick. That was when we were looking to enter a trade. So you enter in and you literally go level to level. So if you were to look at again, one candle racking one level straight to the next. Okay, that that is what we are about, essentially simplifying. So while I'm looking at in a traditional ICT methodology, I'm looking for okay, we created a fair value gap. I'm looking for retracement. I'm looking at the Fibonacci levels. I'm looking at dealing ranges X, Y, and Z. That can get very cumbersome, and and that truly takes a lot of time to A, get used to, and B, draw on your chart. Have you drawn on NinjaTrader?
I hate using NinjaTrader for charting. I do all my charting on TradingView, and I just use various platforms just for execution, basically.
My point exactly. Trying to draw on this thing, I have 12 hotkeys set up just for drawing.
Oh,
And
wow.
and even then, I'm like, okay, can I move this? No, I accidentally just tilted a line or I just erased like five other drawings. It gets complicated. So that approach is sustainable on some platforms, but not on all. I wanted something that was sustainable on all platforms. So, like I said, we are waiting for respect to happen because previously, had I not had the trigger points, I would have traded this. I would have traded this. I promise you, 100%. Would have been smacked left, right, and center, and would have been pissed that I'm getting stopped out on both sides of the market. Just candle after candle after candle. But here we can see that there's a very easy flow. So we know that when previous resistance is supported, it then turns to support. Okay? We see that it then went up to a previous resistance, another previous resistance level, surpassing the support level, and then is continuing on. These levels are not drawn by me. I want to make that known. It's not. These are delivered in Globex Open and the Asia session, and they don't change. So you're going to get a new set of levels every single day at Globex Open and at the start of the Asia session, and that is defining the entire day. But again, you have your intraday resistance levels all the way at the top. Honestly, it's Nasdaq. This could happen. It could very well happen. We've seen days where there's a 700-point run
Hmm.
and everyone's trying to catch the falling knife. I'm I too am guilty of it, but this has really helped me decipher where price is going, even in all this horrendous chop. So, and it's not just for the Nasdaq. I could go to oil and do the same thing. Okay, I could do the exact same thing on oil. You see, it is respected. So let me go ahead and do the exact same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and start just removing everything minus the trigger point. Look at that. So I have 2 days trigger points, but you can see you have the intraday that is respected off the bat. The moment we traded to it, immediate rejection. Immediate. Same goes for, you know what? We came up, broke the support, came up, retested to the tick and runs. That's that's really what is keeping me sane in markets that are chopping. But again, this doesn't just work for one or two tickers. I mean, I go across the entire board. I'll go to gold. I'll go to the Dow, which I maybe have traded twice in my life, but it all works the same. The Russell, and you can even go into the currencies. So if you want to trade currencies, if you want to trade copper, if you want to trade natural gas, it all works. It's it's quite fascinating, but I just wanted to share that this small addition to my strategy has simplified my entries completely. Where I'm not now, if I were to show you a trading view chart, all you would see is a screen full of fair value gaps and lines saying like denoting liquidity, but none are single tick entry points, right? Like we all know we want the market to break, but where? We want the market to retest, but where? Right? Most of the time, we're drawing a zone like this, saying, okay, let's retest this zone. Cool. Where are you going to enter? Right? Now, again, for those with very, very, very established strategies, easy point of confluence. If you're still trying to figure out a strategy, this is not only a confluence, but a serious leg up in trading. But like you said, we've seen the days where a lot of people were gambling accounts. You know, again, when I first started, I did the same thing. When that 90% sale hit, oh, yes, swipe, swipe, swipe that card. That, like, I was filling up my chart with like 10, 20 accounts. And I'm like, okay, 10 one way, 10 another way. Please, something pass. And all of them are blown in a matter of like 30 seconds. But that's what I'm saying is this really
Mhm.
simplifies it. And even if you're not well established in trading yet, you don't have a well defined strategy, this is going to help tremendously. Now, I know I went on a nice rant, and thank you for coming to my TED talk about about my strategy. But I would love to hear about your strategy. You know what? You've been in the future space much longer than I have. You know, I've seen your charts, and I'm very very curious to hear about your strategy if you are comfortable sharing it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first, let me say about the EG indicators is there is a reason that EG Indicators is the only indicator company I've ever affiliated with. Even though I've had many offers in the past, and I love working with the people there, and I see the tools that work. So that's why I do enjoy working with EG, and I absolutely agree with everything you've said here about their tools and their indicators.
Yeah, you you know when you get a team of software engineers and data scientists together with vastly different perspectives, you can really create some powerful tools.
Hmm.
So it's data backed and data driven. So that's that's what I love about it. But now I would love to hear about your strategy.
Sure. Blowing up my NQ chart now. I have two separate strategies, and I do have the trigger point on my chart. I don't use it to the point that you do, but I do when it gets to a supportive resistance area. I get more careful around it. But
Okay.
I am a what would you would call pretty much a super scalper in that I'm going for depending on how the market's moving, 5 or 10 points at a time, and I'm working off a 30-second chart.
Okay.
Sometimes a minute, sometimes 30-second. But I have two strategies. One's a reversal strategy, one's a with trend or with momentum strategy. You can see these colored candles on my thing, the blues and the purples. So those are engulfing candles, and
Okay.
those are my part of my triggers for like with trends. So if I get a purple candle like this one right here, that's a
Oh,
trigger
you
for
know what?
me. Can you see
Would
my screen?
would would you have to share your screen? It looks like it's not
Oh,
populating.
hold on. I forgot about sharing the screen in Zoom. I was just doing it as on the actual stream itself. Hold on. Let me figure out how to.
All all good. I did the exact same thing, and then I get like 10 messages like, "Hey, are you trading today?" And
Let
it's
me
like
see.
I've been trading for the past 20 minutes. Where have you been?
Let me remember how to actually. Oh yeah, there we go. Yes, screen one. Okay, share. Okay, is it working? Okay. Do you see my stream? Do you see it or not?
Yep,
Ah,
got
okay.
it.
Okay. So yeah, so okay, so like this purple candle here would be my trigger because it finished below the 9 EMA. I will enter when that closes and then go. I prefer, okay, I try to use the top of the candle as a stop, and I prefer one to
Hmm.
one, but I'll just play, sometimes just play with it. It looks like it's gonna stop, stop, then I won't go for the one to one. So there's one entry, here would be another entry. And then the same thing with the blues on the way back up, finishes above the 9, take that. Um, then you just got to be careful when you start getting toward the end of the run. This would be another trigger. And that's basically how I use the blues and the purples to enter. This is an entry, this is an entry, this is an entry. That wouldn't be an entry because it didn't finish above the 9, it wicked above. And you can see how it kind of failed. It went a couple points and then whoosh. So that's my strategy for going with momentum, or at least where it looks like momentum's changing above the 9 EMA. So this would be a trigger. This would be a trigger, but this blue candle wouldn't be because it's not touching the 9. So
Okay.
that's my strategy for looking for the blues above the 9, the purples below the 9. And then my reversal strategy, if you see these green and red shaded areas, that just means that it touched the Bollinger Band, the second standard deviation of the Bollinger Band. And
Right.
then I'm looking for, a lot of people, they think Bollinger Bands, well, as soon as it touches, that's when it's going to reverse. No, I wait for the first opposite candle. So like you can see here, we grind it up, green, 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 green. This was the first opposite candle. And that would be my entry after that closed. And you see that could be up to 15 points. Another one right here next door, right there. Boom, that's another 15. And even here, and then this one would have been a little bit of a heart attack because boom, stop would be up, about 10 points. Comes back, that big blue candle scares you, but you can see, that went down another 15. So that's what I'm looking for on the reversals. Now you can see like here, this blue candle here looks like, that would be one I would, that would be a trigger because, it's coming out of the bands, but it came so close to the 9, and usually, if that happens, it'll quickly reject back off the 9. I usually want space. Like this purple candle here is another perfect one, coming out of that shaded area, just touch the bands, and it's well above that 9 EMA.
Okay.
So, that's my reversal strategy. And then, like I said, the above the 9s with the and below with the purples is my with momentum or with trend strategy, whatever you want to call it. And this does work on higher time frames as well. If you look on a 5 minute here, Here this beautiful blue candle coming out of the bands here, and you can see. I mean, actually, I'm wanting to develop the 5 minute strategy more because the strategy on the
Mhm.
five, you see, that's a 60-point move. Would be
Right?
then to this doesn't work real well on the 30 second because of how volatile NQ is, but on a 5 minute, it becomes very easy to trail behind each candle, keep moving your stop behind each candle, and you can get that big move. Where here it was a 60-point move. I would have had to stop finally at the bottom of this candle, and so I would have gave back like 10 points, but it's still been 50 points just trailing that up like that.
Yeah, but that's still like a phenomenal trade to take 60 points on NQ,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't as if it was like a hard 60 points where, the last trade you showed on the 30-second chart where you had, I believe it was a second blue candle that would have scared you and you had a little bit
Yeah,
more drawdown
right.
to get the 15 points. I mean, this was pretty much a straight shot.
Yeah.
Like you weren't sitting in the trade saying, "Please don't reverse back below my entry. Please don't." Um,
Yeah,
but
the only thing like with a higher time frame, like the 5 minute, like here, this is a valid entry, but to use the stop that of the full candle, you're using a like a 23 or 24 point stop, so you're going to at least until you have a little bit of a balance cushion, start off with some micros instead of a mini, and because if not, two that two bad trades could knock you out for the day or even out of your account. So you're going to want to make sure you're sizing down the start if you're going to use the higher time frame. Even
oh
this
yeah,
this would have been a 15-point stop. So, but I mean, 15-point stop for a 50-point move, that's more than 3 to 1.
exactly. And I really do like your one-to-one outlook on the 30-second chart because that is my bare minimum. I need to have a one-to-one. But if I already believe that I'm on the wrong side of a trade, look, if I'm positive by 5, 6, 7 ticks, I'll take it because you know what? Rather have that than be stopped out for 50, 60, 70 ticks
Mm-hmm.
when I already knew I was on the wrong side. Now, I feel like a lot of traders, when they first start out and they first get into futures trading, think it's just a buy and sell. That's all it is. That they don't really need to manage the position. Well, it's like, no, no. You should always manage that position because while, yes, you have a stop loss and you have a take profit, what if you are 50 points in profit, but you don't move your stop loss and price comes all the way back? I I might actually cry.
Yeah.
I might actually cry, like especially if I'm leveraged in like three or four minis and it went up 50 points and retraced the entire move and I come back and I'm stopped out in the red. No, I'm not ready to deal with that today. But I wanted to get your thoughts on,
Uh,
you know,
one second. Is your Zoom frozen? Mine appears to be frozen on like I don't like I'm hearing you, but I don't see the video moving anymore.
oh, you didn't see me just
No, like
deck
it's
out
more.
my chart in disco colors.
No, it's frozen for some reason.
Oh, interesting because I can see you,
I mean,
see,
I can see like okay, I can see your can't you personally, but like on the stream, it's frozen and like I
oh,
can't bring up my Zoom window. Like it won't allow me to
oh.
bring it up. So
Here, what if I go ahead and share?
Oh, maybe I
Yeah,
can let me do shop. Let's stop sharing and see if that stop. See if that. There we go. That unfroze it. So okay, we're
beautiful.
good now. Yeah.
You,
Okay. So
you
I'm
know what?
sorry. Didn't want to throw your train of
All
thought
good.
off there.
All all good. So again, like traders when they first start in the future space. I know what I went through, and it was absolute hell. But what you see is like the first few milestones to finding consistency.
I mean, you know, the first milestone, I believe. I mean, everyone's looking for a P&L milestone or so many, a payout or you know all that. But I think the first milestone needs to be figuring out your emotions and not letting them get the best of you because you might back yourself into a payout. You might get to a payout. You might, pass some evals, but it's never going to be consistent if you can't get those emotions under control. So that has to be number one. I mean, you're always going to have some nervousness when you enter a trade. That's never, for most people, that's never going to go away. But not letting that make decisions for you while you're in that trade or even before talking yourself out of the trade, which I do all the time. Still, I'm too risk averse still, whereas I'll talk myself out of good trades. It's a lot of people are too take too much risk. They'll just jump in on anything. So whatever the issue is with their emotions, I think that needs to be the first milestone, and then the other stuff will start falling into place as working on finding that edge, and then it goes from there. Almost everyone I talk to that's struggling with their trading, it's something psychological, and yet when you first hear about day trading, and I don't care if it's stock day trading, options, or futures or whatever, you never hear about psychological.
No,
I didn't know how psychological it was when I started day trading. No one ever mentions that, and it's the biggest part of trading, in my opinion.
I completely agree. Look, I mean, I even went so far as to go and get a degree in finance. None of this is talked about. Like, no one talks about the emotions in trading. They don't talk about sizing. They don't talk about, how to actually position yourself into well thought out trades. Nothing. It's, yeah, this is how these securities move. These are the equations that govern the price X, Y, and Z, and then you're like, great, I can trade now. No, you cannot. And I found out that the hard way, before futures, I too would talk myself out of good trades, then realizing it was a good trade and then FOMOing in. And I didn't know why I was doing it. And until, say, then when I first got into futures, started to look up a lot of content, and everyone does this. They're like, okay, let me go to YouTube futures trading and and then it's just all the web of next videos. But one of them was on psychology, and it was I can't even remember the name of the video so long ago, but I remember I still practice it to this day. Like to grab a journal, enter a trade, and right before you enter a trade, you have to write down all the reasons why you are going to enter in that trade. Then you enter in the trade. 9 times out of 10, it saves you from entering in on a bad trade because price will have already moved against you or moved in the opposite direction. But that has helped me so much on the psychological part. But I've seen so many people, you know what? They go from I'm about to take like a $20,000 payout, blown, just gone, all
Mm-hmm.
gone. And you ask, how does that happen? But it's super easy with futures because A, they move so fast, and if you leverage in, it does not take much to go through $20,000. So
Mhm.
the psychological part, what helped you get past that?
Um, a couple of things. I mean, first of all, I won't say I'm past it because I still struggle still at times, but it's gotten a lot better. I mean, just one thing that's totally outside of the whole trading thing was the fact that when I first started this, my goal is was to help me actually pay bills because I was in a very bad financial situation, and it's very hard to be successful at this if you're desperate. And now my financial situation has improved from outside of actual trading, so that's helped me relax just right there. So, but a lot of people do that. They get in thinking that this is going to be their answer. Not, there's obviously there's some people that want the Lambos and the vacation homes. Some people just get into this thinking that this is going to help them get ahead, get caught up, whatever. And anytime you're trading where you're trading to try and make rent that month or make your car payment or whatever, it's almost always not going to work because you're putting that much pressure on yourself. So that's been one thing, just the fact that my personal life has gotten better. And I mean, just starting to, I think over time you just start trusting yourself more. It becomes natural. Plus, I'm a big numbers guy, so I will actually, I'll sit there on a weekend and literally go through every valid setup and mark them and see what the numbers were for that week, how many would have won, how many would have lost, how many went this many points, etc. And seeing those numbers also helps. It tells me, well, you know what? There's no reason not to trust this. For the past 3 weeks, it's done 60, 65%, going at least, X amount of points. Why aren't you doing it? So it just, sometimes it just takes time. It just takes time to trust yourself. And it just at some point you don't realize it even that you're starting to turn the corner, and you end up you are turning the corner.
Absolutely. And would you agree with, you start to realize that you're in a much better place psychologically when you're okay with the loss, like taking a loss on a trade, like being able to sit there with a loss
Hmm.
and saying, you know what, I need to close the charts. Just having that self awareness.
Oh,
You
definitely.
like for me, that was the hardest part was being able to be okay with the loss. And you hit it right on the head. If you're getting into trading, thinking it's some get rich quick thing, or you're doing this to just go buy a nice car or whatever the monetary reason, if you are depending on trading to support every other aspect of your life, you're in for a rude awakening because you're going to face some serious demons you didn't even know you had. And getting past those psychological points. While, again, I don't believe anyone will ever be 100% past it unless you are a robot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're all human. We're, we're gonna have some fuck up every now and then. It's gonna happen. I'll be the first to say I have it too. But when you look back on it, if you can recognize, hey, yeah, I should not have done that. You know what? You're already making progress. But like I said, you know what? That's one of the first pieces. So for any new trader, locking in your psychological state, your trading psychology, that is super important. Now, once they're past that, it's a whole different game because while that is a major role, what would you place next?
I think, I mean, it's just, Again, not focusing on a certain P&L, like not saying I want to make $200 a day, $500 a day, but just finding consistency in their trading stats, their whatever their win rate is that they need to be profitable, or what, where they're not having wild swings where one day they're doing one, everyone has a bad day, everyone has a great day every now and then, but you want consistency over time. And I think that consistency needs to be in, not looking at the dollar amount, but looking at the actual trading itself. Are you following your plan? You know, and that's one thing, we talked about the futures desk earlier. They make it so easy because in their software, you can be marking which setup you're taking as you're taking it, and you can see the stats on that setup, and you can even journal how you felt as you literally as you're taking that trade. So, but you can see all those stats, and I think that's a great help. But even without that, even if you're not using the futures desks and their journaling and all that, just looking back, are you following your plan? Consistently following your plan, and if not,
Right.
why? You know, Again, the P&L will come. It should be the last metric anyone starts looking at. It's first of all getting the emotions in check, and then figuring out what your strategy is, what your edge is, what your plan is, and following that consistently, and analyzing it. And then once you're doing that, then the P&L is going to come anyway, as long as it's an actual edge that works.
Right. There's so many strategies out there. There is no one right strategy, right?
Right.
I think what we're all looking for is simplification. Is what is the simplest and easiest way I can read the market and have a good insight into what's going on. But again, that can come in like 12 different forms. Like some people say, you know what? I need 30 indicators on my screen. If I don't have that, I can't trade. And you know what? Valid. You know what? Do it. If I can't even see the candlesticks, but you can make profit, and that's your edge, absolutely. If your chart looks like you're sponsored by Crayola, no problem. If 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 you are doing well, take it. You know what? That is your edge. Don't ever let someone say, you know what? You can't have the 110 box of crayons on your chart. That you know what? If that's how you trade, that's how you trade. But like you said, with the indicators, these aim to really just simplify things. It's just simple,
Hmm.
simple. Where I had a chart full of fair value gaps. I mean, you would have a fair value gap within a fair value gap within a fair value gap. And it looked like just a bunch of boxes. Like the scene where like you have one big box and a bunch of smaller boxes inside. Yeah, that's exactly what my chart would look like, and it drove me nuts. But finding that edge is the hard part because while you can learn someone else's edge, if you can't make it make sense for you, which which is I'm assuming why you are going back and charting every entry, calculating the losses, the profits, the wins and losses in total, just to see, can I make this work for me? Do I see the pattern?
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, doing that also gives you that extra screen time you need, so you do see the pattern better in real time when the market's actually moving. Versus, I mean, it's so easy to see the pattern when you're just, it's the market's not moving, the candles aren't going up and down, the pattern's right there in front of you. But getting that extra screen time doing that helps you recognize the pattern when the market is moving.
Oh, absolutely. And to that point, that kind of sounds like the Globex Open and the Asia session. You have to kind of wonder, like, is your data actually connected? Like, nothing's no-
Yeah.
nothing has moved in the past 20 minutes.
Uh,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure either it's glitching or I don't have data going through. But awesome. So we have the psychological piece, the edge. Now comes what what I would think would be the final part, which is the consistency.
Hmm. Yeah.
So talk to me uh, a bit about that. If you are new, if you're starting futures trading, you're trying to break through, you're trying to find a strategy that works for you, and you finally get there. Now, how can they actually capitalize on it?
Just keep trading their plan, and then at the point that's when you start watching your P&L, seeing that it's working, and overall, I mean, if not, and not letting yourself get derailed if you do, if every strategy is going to have a bad day, no matter how good that strategy is. So don't allow, one thing I did is, if I had a bad day with a strategy, even though the strategy may have worked 4 days in a row, I had a bad day with the fifth, and I start rethinking it. Is this really working? It was just, or where the other instead of thinking that the bad day was the outlier, was it the other 4 days where I just get lucky, or were they the outliers? But then just watching and being content with small gains for a while as you get used to being consistent. A lot of people, as soon as they start seeing some profit, they're wanting to size up. They're at let's go. I'm seeing what I made 3 days of profit. Consistent profit. Let's add a contract. No, wait. People are too much in a rush. Wait a month. Wait 2 months of consistently getting what you're looking for, doing your plan, executing your plan, and then start making any adjustments and changes that you feel are warranted, both to the strategy if you see something, and then also to the way you execute the strategy.
Absolutely. And we see it in the charts posted, in the P&L, in the videos posted on YouTube. You see all these people. Look, I made $50,000 today and took 3 points, but with like 500 contracts, and you're like, good lord. But you know, it looks great and it looks so enticing. But like you said, there's no need to leverage in until you have a well well thought out track record showing that okay, this works, and now I have the buffer to actually size in comfortably. I, I've always said, look, I could have a bad week, I could have a bad month. If I've been using this strategy for over a year, I'm not going to change it. If it is longer than like a month and a half, I'm gonna start looking into things to see, hey, am I just not entering correctly? Am I following my plan correctly, or am I just being stupid?
Right.
And oftentimes, it's very much number three.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna enter here. Have my stop loss and take profit. Go take a shower. In the moment I walk out of the room, stop filled. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But but again, so you're saying trade your strategy regardless if you have a few losses. Don't let that dictate the rest of your strategy.
Exactly. you know, Work through it. Like you said, obviously, if you're continuing to consistently lose over time, yeah, then it's time to reevaluate, or and then eventually, then down the road, I feel it's good to have two strategies. So in case one
Mhm.
starts just not working for you, you have another one to fall back on. So
Right.
but that's for a newer trader. You really want them to focus on just one strategy. So that's more of an advanced thing.
Oh, 100%. Like you can't just walk into the chart and say, okay, yep, I like this here. It looks like it's going down. It's like, okay, well, what do you mean it looks like it? I guarantee you, if you looked at the chart today, you say, yeah, you know what, this is gonna break and just come crashing through the floor. You would probably have said that around not 9 o'clock Eastern this morning. Come 9:30, your stop was blown into the third dimension. Like,
Yep.
so, for everyone who's new, it's daunting. It's very daunting. It's frustrating to see those first handful of losses back to back and to not think that something's wrong with their strategy. So, okay, so now they're keeping the consistency. Now, how are they going to keep the profits? Because that seems to be the hardest part out of everything here.
And that's, I mean, a lot of times that just goes back to psychological. You start thinking too, once you start seeing that green, you start going back to thinking too much about that green. Either you're afraid to lose it, or you start getting greedy and wanting more of it. And again, that goes with, maybe they start sizing up too quickly, or they think all of a sudden, they have this, magic holy grail because it's working, and so they start taking more trades and end up not they're not in their plan. It's just a matter of trying to stay within themselves and continue to execute what got them to that point, and being happy with that profit that they're getting at that point, and again then reevaluating, and then slowly, sizing up if it's appropriate and all that. But I think one of the things you talked about, the people, the YouTubers that show the huge P&L, and while that can be motivating for some, I think that gets in a lot of people's heads. Let's face it, if someone starts making $500, $200, even $200, $500 a day trading, for most of the people out there, that's life changing. But
Yeah,
people start getting in their heads, oh, you know what? I can copy trade 20 accounts and I can make $1,000 a day. It's $20,000 a day. I could be a millionaire in 2 months. And I think, I mean, and that might be the extreme case, but I think a lot of people just get the bigger numbers in their head, and they start making decisions that end up costing them their consistency, start costing them their edge, and it starts going away.
you're 100% right, and I've seen it all too many times where someone will say, "Oh, I'm like $500 for my profit goal. I can just make the extra $500." And then I'm like, "But you've already made like $300 or $400 today, and you're still very new. Like trying to do too much at once can really put you in a bind because let's face it, we've all been there. We have like $100 left to pass in an eval, super close. And guess what? You burn the account in the same trade because you you're like, there's no way. I can at least get 10, 20 ticks. No problem. And it just never ever came back.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. Look, they're about 250 trading days a year. $500 is still $125,000 a year. Okay,
Mhm.
$500 on each trading day, $125,000 a year. For how many of y'all? How much would having an extra $125,000 do?
The average American, that retires them. The average American makes less than that.
Exactly. And again, with inflation, with cost of living high as hell, like
Yeah, or it
I
buys a dozen
I get
eggs.
it. But it definitely helps. You know what? It helps a lot, and you can even break that down again in half. Like you can make over $60,000 a year from $250 a day, guys. How many of
That's
y'all can make $250 a day? Like,
that's 12 and a half NQ points.
yeah,
That's,
like you sneeze in this move 20. Like it's not hard, but I'm just trying to figure out like where this idea that we have to make 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 a day, to pass some eval to make it in trading. Like if you build it over time, I believe someone in the futures desk Discord said this, that they let time build their account. You know, whereas while we are looking just at the P&L, it's really that consistency that is going to do it for you.
absolutely. I mean, it's just no one's willing to go. Well, I shouldn't say no one. A lot of people are not willing to go slow and steady, not realizing that slow and steady is going to get them there faster than trying to rush everything.
Absolutely. So, oh, it it it's hard. It's very hard to get a grip on that and just not see the big numbers every single day and be okay with it. You know what? As long as you're okay with it, you're gonna get those payouts. Just would you rather spend what you were going to get in that payout over the next 3 weeks trying to get another funded account, or would you rather take it a bit slower, get the payout, and continue on?
Exactly. Just makes sense, but I mean, it's hard for. I mean, I understand that because I was like that for a while with wanting the big money real quick. I mean, it's just it's your brain tells you. I think sometimes that it's there. And at times it seems so simple. Like I said, it's 12, like when I said it's 12 and a half NQ points. Well, I'm sure there was somebody out there that said, well, yeah, it's 12 and a half NQ points. And if I use five contracts, well, you know what? That's 65 points and that's $1,300, you know, so,
That happens.
yeah. So and it just comes back to really, your mindset and your psychological. It's just, you got to get yourself right with the whole psychological and your living situation and your finances and all that, and just know that it's going it can happen for you, but it's not going to happen quick. And if you want quick, well, go back to playing the lottery and hope you hit it.
Couldn't have said it better because you know what? I can't imagine how many people came into trading and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire in 1 year,"
Mhm.
and halfway through the second year, they're
Order
they're
filled.
looking at their charts, finally understanding what's going on, and that finally sets them up to be successful. But it takes time. You know what? I've always said this is one of the only fields you can get into, right? One of the only fields you can get into with no experience, no college education, nothing. You can walk up and play with the top dogs. You can trade against the biggest players on earth from your phone, from your computer. But you have to think, how smart do you have to be to outsmart them, or
Right.
or or to take a piece of their profit? Now, sometimes that can be a bit hard to think about, but as soon as I started to look at it from that perspective, it became so much easier, realizing I don't need to catch the entire move of the day. Just take a little piece, like you said, you're a super scalper. Those 15 points, boom, in, out, done. I've tried a 30-second chart and I get whiplash. But is not for the faint of heart.
No,
For
it's not.
any
Yeah.
and anyone willing to try, wow. I'm curious as to what your chart looks like on like FOMC or CPI, and you're on a 30-second chart.
Hold on. I think I can go back that far. Give me a second. I'm actually in a trade. It took a long here. It's coming
You
back on
know,
me.
so
Oh, oh, I'm
Order
out.
filled.
Out break even. Okay, let's see. Let me see how far my chart can go backwards. And let's see. When was
yeah.
CPI? Let me see. CPI 30. So it was last Wednesday. I don't think I'm gonna be able to go back that far. I think I can only go back a week on a 30-second. Let me see. Oh, here it is. There's CPI.
Oh yeah. Let's see this beauty. I'm just imagining like one of those Instagram reels where the green bar just breaks your monitor and just goes straight through the roof.
So yeah, I mean, it looked real normal before that. That when you get that bar, you see how it scrunches everything up. So yeah, in the first 30 seconds of CPI, we went up 203 points. And I'll be honest, this one faked me out because I thought we were gonna come back down, and pretty sure I took the short here on this red candle, and you can see that didn't work. And
You know,
then I didn't.
could you
Go
by
ahead.
chance share your screen on the Zoom?
Oh, sorry. Hopefully we don't freeze up this time.
It's like the lottery at this point.
This over here. Okay, you see it? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, 203 points on that first 30-second candle. And then, I mean, this is, I say I need the big candle to touch the nine, so these weren't entries for me back up. Finally came down to the nine here. This would have been my first actually valid entry. But then you can see this was my move down. But yeah, pretty wild on the 30-second. Even just,
Good Lord. That thing just ripped. Like, I mean, guys, think about how much displacement you had on a 30-second chart where before it you can't even see the candles. It looks like
yeah,
pancakes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, without that candle, normal. Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
But then that also goes to say the candles afterwards, how much moment, like how much displacement was within those candles for it to be within 30 seconds. Oh, that is nuts. So I'm I'm actually curious. So what was your rationale for getting into a trade just now? Or
Just now, let me go back to it. Um, Basically, here's my shaded area. Is this blue candle,
hmm?
and I got out too early. I got out break even when it started coming down. I see. I didn't follow my strategy like I should have. So my entry was there. My stop should have been there. I know it's stupid that I didn't because that's only a 5 point stop, and you see it's working for 5 points now. So I was just using that blue candle. It was right up against the nine. I don't always like those, but it seemed interesting at the time, so I did. I just actually no, I'm wrong. Sorry, I forget how fast this moves. It was this blue candle. That was another one I could have taken right here. This was the one, and it.
Oh, okay.
But still, yeah, this blue candle, first blue candle, we're coming down. I had the shaded area over here. We never really, it's grinding on my RSI down here. So it's just the first blue candle after a lot of red candles. And it would have ended up being like 5 points there. But so yeah, technically it wasn't even in my strategy to take that there. I just, every now and then I'll take one that I think, I like. And it would have worked if I got cut it for like 5 points. But this was the one that was in my strategy, and that's the one I should have taken. You can see that would have led
Okay. Yeah.
that would have led to a nice. It could have been 9 points. I probably would have went for 5 or 7 there because our ATR sucks right now. It's under 5. Very choppy. I mean, not choppy. We had a nice move down. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the levels with the EG indicator really help with the trigger point. You have a couple levels real close to each other. So you have a resistance line
Yeah.
at 21,938.25, and then you have the first support level at 21,930.75.
Yep. It's bouncing on that right now.
Usually, yep, when usually they're so close together, you get a lot of chop. So even if you look to the left, chop, chop, chop. Yeah, you have a couple breaks, a lot of chop.
Yeah.
But you know what? The rationale behind your trade was spot on.
Yeah. It's moving up. So, but that's where when the ATR is under 5, I should be going for no more than 5 there. So I ended up letting it come back on me instead. I got out break even, or I think I might got 1 tick out of it. I actually lost 1 tick. So, but yeah, if I had held or had a bigger, slightly bigger stop, held and could have got 10, but still choppy. It's still ugly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, and that's on a 30-second chart. I usually don't go lower than a 5 minute. I'll occasionally go down to a 1 minute, and just because when things chop, it's very apparent on a 5 minute.
Yeah,
It is super, 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 super apparent, and it messes with me a lot. Like I I will be like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna sit on my hands, and that part is hard, right? When you really want to get into a trade, and you're like, no, 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 the setup is not there yet.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
like I mean, we are seeing that support on that sub zero on the first support line.
yeah. Yeah, it looks like it wants to bounce off of it because you can see on the yeah. I keep a 5 minute next to the 30 second, so I'm watching
Hmm.
it. So yeah, definitely see that trying to head up here.
So I'm actually looking at right below, you know, 21,900 as like, okay, this is like a point of no return to be bullish. Now, if we break above the res zero, I'm sorry, res one from the previous day. Do I chance have the previous day on?
I can put it on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just 1 day ago. There you go. Yeah, super easy to add.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
right
the
there,
yep, yellow lines, yeah.
right, right there.
Yep.
If we're finding support, if we can find that support there and maintain it, I think we raid the highs again and and head for higher price. Again, the craziest thing was yesterday we saw both the S&P and the Nasdaq completely reverse everything done up until about 1 o'clock,
Hmm.
and then just fell off a cliff. I don't
Yeah.
really know why. And then you get into the
Order
Asia session,
filled.
and you're like, okay, well, we found our direction, and it didn't really change until we got to the back half of London. But yeah, like I mean, this is perfect. So you know, you have somewhat of a large displacement, 10 points, right? And you have a gap up on the 5 minute on the Nasdaq.
Order filled.
Retesting that previous resistance line, which we would assume to be support.
Yep.
And
I
now it's
just
just,
I just took a 4 point trade off that blue candle up to the EMA there. So just a real quick scalp there for
nice.
4 points.
I like it. I I like it. Fortunately, we had some really good trades this morning, and we did well or early on in between like about 10 a.m. and 11 a.m.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna hold on to those profits and just relax because I have a feeling that if I'm just gonna go and start trading just to trade,
Hmm.
I I may not have money to withdraw
Understandable.
because that has happened to me one too many times. You know what that actually brings up a really good question. What are your thoughts on the news rules? So when you trade with like a brokerage account, so I trade with TradeStation. I've traded with AMP. I've traded with Charles Schwab. Used Thinkorswim. Um, you know, when you're trading with the broker dealers, you don't really see that increase in margin requirement around red folder news,
Right. Um,
but they will liquidate you quick if if you go past. But
mhm.
but we see a lot of news rules with prop firms. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with a, a bit of a news rule, like 1 minute before, 1 minute after. Um,
Hmm.
I very rarely ever trade the actual news. I'll wait for the reaction to the news and then trade that. So non-strict, like as in like 1 minute, is fine with me. I do think that once someone's in a live account and over a certain profit level, they should be able to then I think all rules should go away in my opinion. Once they're above a safety net, whatever. But there's some companies that have such strict news rules, it's a little over the top. There's one company that says you cannot trade anytime Powell's speaking. So if he has a 30-minute speech, nobody can trade that entire 30 minutes. And I heard of another company that they closed the guy at 20 accounts, and they closed them all because he was trading NQ when crude oil inventories came out. That makes no sense at all to me. Crude oil and NQ, crude oil doesn't affect NQ. Makes no sense to me why you would need to be flat on NQ when crude oil comes out. So, if you news rules around
Gosh,
CPI, yeah, CPI, PPI, FOMC, and non-farm payrolls, 1 minute, it probably saves, honestly, it probably saves a lot of traders. But yeah, some of the stuff, some of the rules out there are just way too over the top.
I completely agree with that. Trying to say that it provides no benefit is just a total lie. It does. Let's be honest, guys. We've all traded news. You know, you you are guessing at that point. You have no idea where and what direction and how far. And you can easily blow all of your profits in half a second and then
Order
blame it on a
filled.
glitch. But the fact of the
Order
matter
filled.
is, the red folder news for a reason. And traditionally, if you don't have like the real margin available in your account, you should not be trading that regardless. Like per each NQ contract, if if you don't have like the 24,000, 25,000, $26,000, then it's hard.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize is, they think they're going to be able to get out of that trade if it goes against them. And the book gets so thin that there's so much slippage. I remember, one time on an evaluation, it's an evaluation with a consistency rule. Consistency rule says, I wasn't allowed to make more than $1,250 in a day. And I, I had a limit order set up for news, and it hit my limit order, and I was there hitting the flatten button. It was going my direction, but it went way in my direction. I made $4,500, only allowed to make 1,250. So I had to sit there. I changed over to heating oil to and entered 10 heating
Oh,
oil trades to lose about $3,000 on purpose, just so I could get under that consistency rule for that eval. I hit the
oh
flatten
my
I hit
God.
I mean I hit the flatten button like 10 times before it finally got me out of that trade because the book was so thin.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Talk about a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But still, but still, I recently had an evaluation with Funded Futures Network, and I was trading the Nikkei overnight.
Great
And
man.
right, but I found a pattern that really works and is consistent specifically for that one ticker. And I had four minis, and I thought I had set a take profit, and I went to sleep.
Oops.
I I put my stop loss in profit. Come back, I'm like 7K in profit. This was back when they had the 15% rule. They have the 25% consistency now, but this is when they had 15% consistency. I I wake up and I'm like, so how do I lose money? Um, um, the, the same thing. I just sat there. I just sat there all day. I'm like, please go against me. Please go against me because I could see my new projected um, profit, and it was like well over 25,000. And I was like, it's only the second day, man. Come on, like this can't be happening. But look, those news rules are super beneficial because the vast majority are going to trade news if they can. Just a fact, they're going to.
Yep.
And for us to say no, 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 I would never. You're definitely the first one going to. Yeah. But you know, like you said, like once you get to a live brokerage account, I think it should definitely be on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're getting dinged for trading NQ during EIA. That makes no sense.
Nope. Not at
Like
all.
like the equivalent is, so who cares about trading the Nasdaq when Denmark is reporting PMI? What? What are we supposed to do with that? Like
Right.
I have to adhere to their red folder news too. I mean, if that were the case, you have like 2 trading hours a day, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Man,
doesn't make sense to me. And I've stopped promoting that firm right now until they change some things.
hey, I totally understand. If you're not comfortable with promoting some like a firm that you don't totally believe in, which again, all the firms you promote that I've seen promoted in your Discord, you back 100%.
Hmm.
There is no real halfway. There's no real leeway. It's you either back them or hey, we're not doing this. Like it's not happening.
Right.
which I respect a lot. And for anyone who's not in Mighty Ox's Discord, you should take a look. There's a ton of incredibly detailed information around prop firms around each one, and that actually, that reminds me that list you have of all the prices,
Hmm.
for the 50K, the 100K, the 150K.
Hmm.
That's super helpful because I I can't count how many prop firms we have. Was it like 15, 20?
I'm monitoring 15, and I believe that's on those lists, and then there's like at least 10 more that I'm not that aren't on that list. And
Right.
that doesn't include the five that are on my blacklist. So overall there's about 30, 35 firms, and so yeah, about 15 that I'm choosing to promote and could and monitor right now.
Wow. But again, like, who has all, like, I mean, who traditionally has the time to go through each single firm, price match through all the other firms, and that sheet provide, super helpful. Like, even I'm referencing that, like, when I'm looking at prop firms, I'm like, okay, who has what now? Like, what deals are going on, what plans are out there, and what's like the all-in price? Because you'll have a lot of plans that have like a very easy to get into upfront price, but once you pass that account, man, your wallet's on fire.
Hmm. Yeah, there's one that, regularly does 80, 90% off sales, and it turns out that they're like, say their 150K is like $30 your eval, but then the funded setup fee or the PA fee, whatever you want to call it, is 498. It's like what? It's like
Not trying to actually buy the account value here, but I mean that's a straight to funded account cost.
yeah,
Good lord, man! But you know what? I'm definitely glad that we got to speak on the prop firm industry. There there has been a lot a lot of discussion around that recently. So I'm glad that we actually got to talk about it live instead of just getting lost in the thousands of messages.
hmm,
Yeah. But, you know, I'm excited that we're actually getting some vol volatility now
yeah,
because finally you can look for for some nice trades. Again, I'm keying in on this previous day resistance level that that res one.
hmm,
Ooh. So someone in the Zoom is asking about the big change in the prop world that's coming, but no one's really talking about that. Ooh, lots of rate.
it's
So
it's enough from what I've heard. I mean, no one's disclosed what it is, but multiple prop representatives have said it's really not that big of a deal. That the people that are hyping it on Twitter and all that are just looking for engagement. Um, I think it's just something. My personal guess, and it's 100% a guess, is that there was rumor that Ninja Trader 8 was going to do some sort of thing with where you'll be able to access all your prop accounts across prop firms on like one master account with what Tradeovate Ninja Trader. I don't know if that's what the big news is, but if I had to guess, that's what I would be what I think it is. But I don't know any. I have no inside knowledge. I haven't been able to pry it out of anybody, which is unusual because usually I can pry it out of somebody, but I haven't been able to get it. So which also makes me think that it's also something with Tradeovate, because Tradeovate is very, very strict about anything that gets leaked. They will even potentially drop a prop firm if they found out that they leaked information or gave out information they weren't supposed to give out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but again, we know something's coming. We just don't know exactly what.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be earth shattering.
No, 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 no. I think the hype is definitely much bigger than what's actually coming down. So I'm sure like once all the news drops, you're gonna look at it and be like, oh, that's it?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. We're actually almost to power hour. Do you normally trade power hour or
Sometimes
do you?
I mean, I will look at the charts throughout the day. I'm usually on and off trading. Doing other stuff like maintaining those sheets we talked about, or if a sale gets announced, then I get ad graphics made up and emails sent out and all that. So it all depends on what else is going on in the prop world, or if there's something I'm having to handle in the Discord or whatever. But so yeah, I trade throughout the day. It just depends on when I get to look in on the charts.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and I'm sure you stay busy with all that's going on, trying to stay on top of all the news.
Yeah, yeah. I never, when I first started all this with the affiliate stuff and Mighty Ox trading, I never expected it to be like almost like a full-time job. But I enjoy it. I do. Although I do admit that all the all the drama and all the stress that came in the last quarter of the year last year did burn me out for a while. I ended up taking like a 2.5 week break at Christmas, and I thought it was this was going to take a nice little rest, but I did not realize how much I felt burnt out until after I was you know really really pared back on it and realized how much I needed to that break, because it was all this drama. I mean, I know some people feed off of it and love the drama. I'm just not one of those.
No, no, and to be honest, it's not worth it, man. Just I've come to learn when there is a ton of drama, I'm backing off. I'm just pumping the brakes. I'm like, look, y'all take the Twitter, take the YouTube, whatever. I'm going back to my cave. Like, we can talk about it later when everything settles. I'm cool talking about it then. I'm not getting caught up in in the gunfight. No, no thanks. Like, just let me chill here with my monitors, my and whatever I have, and we'll talk about it when the dust settles. But yeah, people get wrapped up in the minutia, the small details. And I'm like, guys, what what's gonna happen? They're gonna end up doing something, and then we're gonna go from there, right? But we won't know what any of this is until we get there.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So even back looking at the chart, do you mind if I go ahead and share my screen real quick?
Oh, go ahead. I'll stop sharing and you can start. There you go.
All right, thank you. So check it out. So where you had taken, that bit of drawdown, arguably so, on a 30-second chart, that's quite a bit.
Hmm.
But seeing the retest and this sub-zero line really holding, that was a good indication. What I really, really needed to see was this res one line hold. and to the tick, it did. So even if I go back to the 1 minute chart, broke through, held,
Very nice.
just held without a thought in the world. So that's where I normally enter is when it's on the retest. Now, again, if you have a well tested, well thought out, and again, be honest with yourself, guys. If you have extremely well thought out strategy that you've been trading for years and years, and you trust it, this is a fantastic confluence. If you're still finding a lot of inconsistency with your strategy, this will help you lock in real quick. But you know, we can only say so much, but the data speaks for it, and that's what we aim to do. We want the data to speak for itself.
Absolutely.
So, but regarding that, let's see. Let's check oil. Is it in the depths of hell yet? Oh, we're getting there. Oh, we are getting there. I mean, look at this thing. EIA comes out. You have what? Three ticks in profit, and it said sayonara. But check out the retracements. Or so you thought you might be going long, retraces pretty much right to the tick, drops, runs down, retraces right to the tick, dropped. Now I'm not saying you're always going to catch the tip top and you're never going to have any drawdown. That would be insane. That that would be terrible. You know what? I would never say that. But you could also have the best strategy in the world, but if your risk management is garbage, then it's not going to matter.
Absolutely.
So again, this helps with entries, risk management, and then but your risk management has to take over. Your risk management took over. You know what? So you can't fault yourself for getting out of that trade. Your
Yeah.
risk management took over as as you saw it. There was not enough reward for the risk you were currently taking. So even though it's a loss, you made it back incredibly fast, and that's
Yeah.
it. And that's how it works. That's just how it works, guys. You know what? You take the small loss. Even if you take the small losses, yeah, they might add up eventually, but your winners are going to surpass them guaranteed. So again, I'm now looking for this to retrace higher. You know, kind of following the same pattern as yesterday. Would like to see price move quite a bit higher. I would like to see us at least get to 22,000. Guarantees are going to happen? No guarantee it's going to happen. But would it be cool? Oh yeah. But as it sits in this wonderful little mess sitting on my hands, take a look at gold. Uh, anybody want to try to scan this at checkout?
Barcoding.
Oh my gosh. This actually looks nice. Okay, look at this. This is nice.
It is nice.
Again, even if we're looking at a 5 minute chart, you're taking what? A couple points of drawdown here. But this thing never came back. the term retracement is not in its vocabulary. Like, yeah, if you just zoom out, it's purely vertical. But you can see, hey, you know what? At every resistance point, we had a show of resistance. You come up, it knocks you back a little bit, but it then breaks through and just keeps breaking, breaking, and breaking. So again, it's crazy how, just how accurate it works. But that's why, like, I, I'll flip through a ton of different instruments because it plays the exact same. It's the same song on different radio stations. But I'm hoping that, you know what? It is so nice to see that the Russell is not a bucket of despair today. You see what happened yesterday? Legit from 4 a.m. from like 4 a.m. till market open, nothing, nothing but down. Like if you were trading this in the past couple days or like at all this week, congratulations. You are now at break even at market open. Oh. But it's crazy how it just then spikes right back. That is just it's crazy. Do you by chance trade any of the currency pairs like euro dollar, pound dollar?
No, I don't. I'll look at the yen
Checks.
every now and then, but
Yeah. Let's let's just check one. Let's take a little look. Well, that's scary. The Japanese yen is on the rise, but so are the indices. Usually, I do enjoy a nice negative correlation between the two.
mhm.
But as you can see again, look straight to the level on both scenarios. Just absolutely ridiculous. Again, drawing on NinjaTrader, not the best. Or or I can do circle and circle. It's a new art form. Yeah, like easy, easy. If a level is truly supposed to hold, it'll hold. If it's not supposed to hold, it's gonna tell you it ain't holding.
Yeah.
So, but also, a very difficult part is knowing when you're wrong.
hmm
Like, at what point do you realize you're on the wrong side of a trade?
I mean, so usually a lot of times for me, it's just hitting my stop because I remember I'm a super scalper. My trades are
Hmm.
over in 1 to 2 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time to realize that my trade's wrong. It's just usually, if I'm that wrong, it's gonna hit my stop. Now, if it does chop for a while, then I'm just usually I just say, well, let's see what it does. But if I can see that the momentum's turned on it, I will cut it early. But when you're scalping like I do, you're pretty much just resigned to taking the stop usually.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I I've made it a point to let the stops get run, but allow the trade to play. But there was a trade this morning I truly believed I was on the wrong side of. Truly. And it was right during that chop
Hmm
today. I had
Order
entered in
filled.
prematurely. I did. Right right here. Um Assuming we were gonna hit the London low. So I entered in right here. Okay. And I said, you know what? And my drawdown and my stop loss was actually right down here. Yeah. So this was my stop loss, and this was going to be my take profit. I haven't spelled today. Seems to be the challenge. But this was the entry. Again,
Order filled.
so seeing as we ran up, came down with equal momentum to the sell side, I was like, oh yay. Oh, this is about to be fun because when you have the relatively equal lows around here, I'm like, easy, easy liquidation. That thing's just gonna spike down and run straight back. Watch me lose lose that and run 1,000 points in the other direction. Guarantee.
Of
But
course.
yeah, I mean, look, it wouldn't be NQ if it did, right? Like, come on. I mean that that's a long time favorite. But yeah, so even here, because of all this momentum, I was not expecting to be checking out today with barcodes all day. I was not expecting that. But got out with like what 10 ticks in profit, like I said, ran straight to my take profit. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing today. But again, realizing you may be on the wrong side, and that's okay.
Yeah,
You know what? But it's the risk management of that trade that allows you to stay in, allows you to also make the decision to get out
yeah,
when you need to. And guess what? We left the trade with something. It wasn't, even if we took a loss on it, that's fine. But it could have been worse, but it wasn't. And it could have been better, but it wasn't, and that's okay. You know what? It's good to then manage what you can and let the rest play out.
absolutely. I definitely agree. One of the things I used to do was is I would, let my losers hit their, stop loss, but then I would cut my winners short, and that ended up causing problems because my winners, I mean, losers ended up being bigger than my winners. So now, I
So,
just try and let my trades play out and go with the plan because that's no fun when you might be you know winning two out of every three and yet you're back at break even. you know
oh, that hurts. Oh man, that hurts. I used to trade with like 100 tick stop losses and like go in like a handful of micros. Then I thought I was super cool and went in with minis. Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you how cool I was. That thing ripped me to shreds. But it was a good learning experience because had I not had that, I wouldn't have found how to actually have risk management.
yeah.
So
And that's
worked
the other
out.
thing. That's the other thing traders, especially newer traders, need to learn is that when they make mistakes or something doesn't work out the way they thought, they need to not consider that a failure or whatever. They need to consider that's tuition, that's learning, that's education, and learn from it, and it'll make them a better trader. Not get down on the fact that it didn't work, or that even if they made some stupid error, whatever, it's a learning experience, and as long as they learn from it, it's still valuable.
Absolutely. I always say you're going to pay tuition one way or another. You didn't go to college and not pay tuition. No, I mean you paid tuition and you got an education sometimes. But but it's the same deal with the market. Everyone pays their dues. No one shows up and has masterful success. No, everyone's gonna pay sometime. It's just how much do you want to pay? You get to control that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Looks like we're officially in Power Hour. I do believe.
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Yeah. So everything's looking great. Still looking for a nice retracement, and then hoping that we're not going to follow the same price action as yesterday. But what I'm looking at is the S&P over here. See how we're consolidating around the resistance line? I want that thing to break. And I mean, I want it to break, like shattered. But if you think about it, NQ is all the way down here at the sub-zero line, technically. Yet ES is at its first resistance, where I don't believe NQ has seen anywhere near its resistance line today.
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah, its resistance is all the way up in like 22,084.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
over
just
100,
around there.
yeah, like 130 points away.
Wouldn't it be in like true NQ fashion, just a wick all the way up there and then totally reverse,
Oh yeah.
especially in power hour? I'm curious, do we have any earnings coming up?
Good question.
Are there any earnings today that we would want to be wary of?
Only thing,
Thursday, end of close. Ooh,
only thing
tech,
Financial Juice has is Texas Instruments.
yeah, yeah, CSX, Intuitive Surgical, Metropolitan Bank, Resource Corporation. Okay, so First Financial Bank Core. We have a lot of smaller banks. Sure, see any that have like some serious market cap, except for CSX, Intuitive Surgical, and Texas Instruments. Does speak to hey, how is um, aerospace and military stocks performing?
Good question.
Put up the good old trading view. Our favorite Lockheed Martin. Yeah, that's not a downtrend. No. Dropping. Oh, okay. That's oh, I was making that way worse than what it looked like. I keep thinking of things in like terms of NQ, and I see a huge drop on a chart. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like a like 400 points, and now it's like $2. like like the top from here down here, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, that's like $10, no problem. Like 1%, that's nothing. Considering over like the past like week or so, it's been up. Okay, so aerospace looks like it is doing well. Earnings today. I would not be surprised if we see some crazy price action after hours today. Wow, the absolute gappage on this buckshot. Okay, but yeah, as always, man, it is fantastic to have you in a live session
I've enjoyed
and
it as well.
get your perspective on the prop firms, trading strategies, and how we can help new traders move forward in the market. It is daunting, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Always.
I do. Yeah.
You just got to look for it.
I
But
100% agree.
I do appreciate your time today, and hope everyone was able to take away something.
Appreciate you coming up with this idea and putting it together. And we'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope hopefully not all the firms break out a deal in the next 5 minutes, but that that would actually be kind of a cool idea. They have like an earnings deal. Hey, anybody want to play earnings on Apple? Here's a 35% off. You're probably gonna need it.
Yeah, the discount on resets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like always, man. Take care, and we will catch you later.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you everyone for being here today. See you next time. Bye. If I could find my software. If you enjoyed today's live stream, remember we do this every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hope you'll continue to join.